All right, so hello, this is Seattle Postgres User Group. We are here the first time that we've had a meeting since 2020, which is kind of wild, and it's awesome to have everybody in the room. I need some help, and the reason I'm asking you to make this video is because I'm gonna need your help too, if you're watching this, if you're a tech person in Seattle. Before I say that, give the details though, I wanna just real quickly say something about the user group here. So people from Michigan do something kind of weird. If you've ever met one before, what they do is they walk around pointing at their hand all the time when they want to tell you where they're from. So it's because your hand is the shape of the lower peninsula of the state of Michigan, and I was born right about here, okay? On the very top, Black River, just outside of Sheboygan, a small logging town, a couple hours drive from Petoskey Hospital, the closest hospital. I lived in 5 different places before I graduated high school, mostly agricultural towns around Michigan. I did 2 years at a small liberal arts school in Michigan, dropped out, went back home, got a job as a dishwasher at a local restaurant. But I was good with math and computers, and I kind of found my way into some computer jobs. And I'm just kind of like mentioning that because I don't think that I like necessarily started out at the back of the pack, but I didn't exactly start out at the front of the pack either. Like I wasn't the kid who got into Michigan State University or University of Michigan computer science program or landed at MIT or wound up getting a job at like Accenture as soon as I got out, or something like that. But what did happen for me was that I stumbled across, I thought Linux was kind of neat. I stumbled across something called the Greater Lansing Linux Users Group. This is like the early 2000s. After that, the company, I had a job, and there was an Oracle database literally in a closet, and I stumbled across something called the Oracle L mailing list on the internet. I started finding some blogs that people were doing, especially a bunch of people who were part of this thing called the Oak Table Network, and the thing they all had in common was that they kind of felt like when it came to databases, if somebody was giving you advice, like if you were gonna like do that and believe it and trust it, it should be something you could prove. So they'd like, even right on their blogs, they'd like give demos of like how you could design experiments to, should you separate your data and your indexes? How important is the cache hit ratio? Like how do you interpret these things? That impacted me a lot. I moved to Chicago and I found the Chicago Oracle user group there. Guy that I met there, I ended up finding a job through that connection, working with Oracle, really enjoyed it. Found the Midwest Oracle user group, found the IOUG, started organizing stuff. Me and a few other people put together this kind of like open source clustered database hands-on workshop that was hosted on Wikibooks, open license. Then we started running workshops all over the place, all over the world. Traveled, I remember one of my favorite was the UK Oracle user group running workshops there. Fast forward a few years, I was trying to decide what was next. And of course, I reached out to people that I'd met through some of these user groups. And one of these guys sent me a specific listing. I was looking in Chicago. He was like, you should apply for this job in Seattle. I haven't really been looking at that. So I did, among other things. That ended up working out. And in 2017, I moved here. So today I'm still in that job. It is a blast. I go to work every day and I feel humbled to be surrounded by a whole bunch of people. I'm still learning things every day, and it's awesome. I've gotten to do some work that I'm really proud of, and what's really cool now, increasingly, and this has happened at work and other places, now I've over and over had the opportunity to meet some people who are like earlier in their careers. And it's like the coolest thing in the world to meet somebody where you're like, they're kind of earlier in their career, but you meet them, you're like, holy smokes, this person is like clever, smart, engaged, curious, interested, and then like you get to be part of the story where like I've gotten to like kind of point them in the right direction, maybe answer a question here and there, and then get to watch. And I love this, like, getting to know people, watching over the course of a few years, and especially those few people you get to meet where their career trajectory just goes like this, like straight up. They build things that are just amazing, that blow my mind. How fast they learn things just blows my mind. And the reason I kind of was giving that background is like for me, and I think it kind of comes through the way I tell the story, like I'm just really thrilled. The user groups played a big role for me, right? It was an on-ramp for me in a lot of ways. It was kind of like an express lane sometimes. It just kind of moved me forward a little bit faster than I would have moved otherwise. And here, this is user groups in general, but it's also the Seattle Postgres user group. I like the content, right? I like that we can bring in speakers. Lloyd was just telling you, we've got the next 4 months are up on the website now, and they look awesome. We've got really cool talks. We've got somebody coming from out of town, which is going to be really sweet in May. I like the social aspects, right? For the next 4 months, third Thursday of every month, anybody who wants to, you come up to Garage Billiards and Bowl at 7 o'clock and just hang out. I'll be there. At some point during the night, I will share like one best practice. I call them happiness hints, and do like a 5-minute thing, but otherwise we'll just hang out. I like the social time, but the thing that I like the most, the thing that I value the most about this user group, about user groups in general, which I think is unique, is the low barriers to entry and the open doors, right? There are professional associations out there that you pay a fee, a membership fee to be part of, and they run conferences, and those are good, those are important. But you don't have to pay a membership fee to come to the Seattle Postgres user group, right? You can't just walk in to the Microsoft campus or to the Amazon campus downtown and just go in there and sit down at a desk next to some software engineer that builds databases and ask questions. But basically, pretty much anybody can just walk in the door here, right? On the first Thursday of the month, 6 o'clock here at the Hutch. Third Thursday of the month over at Garage Billiards and Bowls at 7. Anybody can walk in the door, ask questions. You can ask Lloyd, he's got like decades of experience with Postgres. You can ask me questions about Oracle, about user groups, about Postgres, using Postgres on AWS. I've spent a bunch of time around that. And anybody can walk in and ask questions. So in the spirit of that, the reason I'm setting all this up, now this circles back to why I need some help. So yesterday morning, we've been talking for a few months, but yesterday morning I was sitting in the office of a faculty chair of the computer science department for a local university here in Seattle. And we've been kind of talking, me and Lloyd have been talking, we've been talking with the computer science department, and we think that there's a really great opportunity to do something collaboratively between the Postgres user group and the computer science department. They've got a pretty large, not just a large undergrad program, but they also have a large graduate program, which includes both a bunch of people who are, kind of do the traditional straight through, but they also have a bunch of people that do like mid-career changes as well. And the thing that we've talked about is doing kind of a collaboration, probably, so in July we'll do kind of our annual barbecue, we'll take a break for the summer, and then we're gonna come back in September. And in the fall, we're kind of, hopefully we can pull this all together, it's not guaranteed, but the plan is that in the fall we'll do a collaboration with one of the computer science department, local university here in Seattle. And there's two things I could use help with. And I've got clipboards here that if any of you guys here are interested, and then I'll put some links online if I post this video somewhere. The two things are, first, what I would really like to do is just get a handful of people to volunteer, and what I'd like to do is do some architectural lightning talks, basically. So I'm just gonna give you like a whiteboard, a marker, in 10 minutes, and pick one system that you work on today or a system that you worked on at some point in the past, draw a picture and tell us about it. So like whether you got like a mobile app, is there web servers, is there some kind of back-end data stores, is there a job scheduling system, is there a reporting system, is there a backup system, just whatever, you don't have to know everything. Whatever you remember, sketch it out, just draw the picture, and we'll kind of, whatever you do know about it. And if I can get a couple of those back to back and a couple different systems, I think that'll be fun for everybody in the room. And the point is, of course, we're like inviting students from the computer science department, and I think this would be especially cool for them just to see some of the different things that we build, right? And it kind of helps you connect the dots and sort of see where this is all going. And the second thing that I'd like to do is similar to that, but get a handful of people, if we can, to do sort of career stories or career walkthroughs on the same vein. So it's real simple, just kind of 3 things. You can either talk it through yourself or we can do interview style, but basically what do you do? What's one thing that you love about it? And then just a little bit of like how you got there, a little bit of your story of how you got there. And again, it's just like 5 or 10 minutes. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm hoping we can pull this off and put this together. Cool, you can stop the video, thanks.